Hey guys, Scott with Heritage Farms, Texas. Thought I'd take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about an adventure that Michelle and I had a chance to go on. So we reached a point in our life where we're trying to do some bucket list stuff. You know, we've worked hard, we've saved hard, we've invested smart, and we're trying to take some vacations and really try to enjoy life. So we had this great opportunity to go down to Key West, spend a few days. My wife tied it into a work function, and so off we went, man. So check out Brett if you ever go down there for a seaplane adventure. You can see the Havilland plane that we were flying. I mean, what a tank it was. But man, we took off one morning early, like 8 o'clock from the Key West airport, and we were flying our destination 70 miles west of Key West. So it was about a 40-minute plane ride from wheels up to pontoons down. And you can see here we are. It's just a little snapshot of the island as we're taking off. Where that cruise ship is sitting is where our hotel was. We stayed at the Opal Resort, which was just a beautiful place. There's a little snapshot of Key West before we head out. There's actually a little island out there where one of the James Bond movies were made. We also had a chance to fly over a couple of shipwrecks. Probably the most famous one was the Arbutus, which was the Mel Fisher treasure hunting boat that went down. That's actually a boat where Jimmy Buffett made a album cover. These two islands are Defender Island because they actually a U.S. Defender ran ashore and split those little islands into two. But you can see now, man, one thing about the Keys, when you leave Key West, you would think the water would be deep, but it's not. It's like 3 feet, 6 feet, 10 feet. I mean, it varies, but man, the water's actually pretty shallow. So it's really important for the big ships to stay in the channels where everything's been dredged out. Here was another shipwreck. There was a couple of them. One was a U.S. Coast Guard boat that they sunk and they used for military target practice. But it's amazing, man. There's all kinds of, snorkelers and divers that come out to those shipwrecks. But anyway, flying out, man, we just got to see all kinds of stuff. We're at an altitude of about 500 feet. The captain was so knowledgeable about the area and so much history. He was like a walking encyclopedia of Key West and everything associated with the Dry Tortugas. So a couple of islands along the way, man, we saw sea turtles, dolphins, hammerhead shark, just all kinds of wildlife out here that you could actually see. So the flight over was fun just to watch. I mean, you were in amazement at how beautiful the water was, how it changed colors based upon the depth of the water, the various channels that were in there, the mangroves, and just a smooth, perfect day for us to fly over. So here's another picture of the shipwreck, and I can't remember which one this was. If this was on the fly down or the fly back. One thing about it, there's no bad seat on the plane because you keep your assigned seat that you have, and going out or coming back, you see something slightly different, and the captain does a great job of making sure everybody gets a view of the scenery as it develops. So where are we going? We're going out to Dry Tortugas, and this is actually a U.S. fort. I mean, it was during the Civil War area. It's called Fort Jefferson, and that's where we're going. And the whole goal of this island was it was going to be used to protect the Gulf of Mexico and also the Mississippi River. And the thought process was if you could control this point, you could control the waterways in the U.S., and what a strong military stronghold it was. Well, we'll tell you more about that as we get closer, but it didn't quite work out so well. But yet, what a destination to go to. And you just don't get this from seeing it on a boat. Now, you can take a boat to the Dry Tortugas, but it takes like 3 or 4 hours each direction to get there by boat. And I hear a lot of people get possibly seasick, and it's just not a fun environment. Whereas when you're traveling with Captain Brett on this little seaplane, man, what a fun journey. There was a total of 10 people on the plane. And the fact that we were the first ones out, when we got to the island, we literally had the island all to ourselves. So there she is. There's the beauty of Fort Jefferson. That is the Dry Tortugas Islands. There's 6 or 7 little islands in this chain. But man, what a destination. Today it's a national park. It became a national monument in 1935, but in 1992, they actually turned it into a national park. The snorkeling and the diving around it is incredible. It's a bird sanctuary. Just can't say enough. And there's something on the snorkeling side for everybody. Depending if you're an amateur or an expert, you can challenge yourself. The wife and I, we're amateurs, so we took the beginner's beach, if you will. But yet, you know what? We had a beautiful time. The beach was nice. It was clean. And that's the thing. They do an outstanding job of protecting it. But you got to think at the point in time, in 1846, this was an incredible monument or an incredible fort out in the middle of nowhere with the sole goal of controlling the Gulf of Mexico. Fort Jefferson in all her beauty. So Captain Brett's doing a little flyby here. He's about to set this thing down. I've never flown on a seaplane before, nor has my wife. We were a little worried. We heard it could be a little bumpy on the landing, but check this out, man. The water was like glass. Captain Brett, being a seasoned pilot like he is, set that thing down. It was perfect. Couldn't have asked for a better landing. So then he backs up. We get off at Fort Jefferson. We get a chance to tour it. So a couple of things that strike me. 1846. This is an island 70 miles off the coast of Key West. How do you get this many bricks to this island? That's one question. B, how do you get enough people that know how to lay bricks on this island? How do you get mortar and concrete to lay this? That's the beautiful thing about this fort is look at all of the arches. It's like 3 stories tall. I mean, there's a moat around the island. It's just absolutely incredible. Each one of those windows in its glory days had a cannon sitting in there, and never had a battle at this place. And actually, the rest of the story is it was never finished. It started in 1846. 1865, the Civil War was actually going on, and the Union side actually used this as a prison. So when they would catch prisoners from the South, this is where they would put them. Actually, 4 guys associated with Abraham Lincoln's assassination were actually prisoned here. But man, there was a lot of firepower, but they ran into all kinds of problems. They ran into disease. Then simple things like food, water. Oh yeah, we didn't think about that. But look at the detail in the brickwork. I mean, this thing just goes on and on and on. And look at the cannon rails here and how they pivoted and rotated. For its time, it was, man, state of the art. They really had some big plans, but it just never worked out. You know, the best laid plans sometimes go wrong. But look at this place. I mean, you just can't say enough about it. In the glory days, in the middle, they had gardens. They were raising everything. Of course, they had to feed all of the soldiers that were on the island. I mean, but just think about the logistics of getting supplies out here. Excuse me. It did have a lighthouse on here to kind of keep the ships away in the darkness of night. But man, what a glorious, glorious place. But now on any given day, you can see charter boats come out, snorkelers come out. It's quite the destination for people wanting to boat from Key West. And it was just a picture perfect day when we were here. It was like 80 degrees. The water was just perfect. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Lot to see at Dry Tortugas. And, you know, bird watching, oh my gosh. They close half of the island throughout the year just to protect the birds. But, I mean, a lot of this place was actually falling down a little bit. It needed a little more work done to it. But that's part of the beauty of it. Check out the pristine waters. So when we were snorkeling, we could see all kinds of feeder fish, or bait fish, if you will. And occasionally through here, you'd see a big fish come up, like a barracuda or something. But you know, they were interested in the fish. They were not interested in us. So that part of it was kind of nice that we were able to snorkel. And the beautiful thing was the water was like only 4 to 6 foot deep. So if you needed to stand up, you could at least touch the bottom and stand up. So and the current was a little bit strong. It was a little windy that day, but we'd put in at one area and just float down to another, get out, and then come back and do it over again. But it was fun just to watch the little bait fish. They were silver, how the sun would reflect off of them. It was pretty amazing. Of course, in the back of my mind, I'm wondering, where's Jaws? You know, I always had an eye open for something big, but we never saw any sharks or anything like that. There was no jellyfish. It was just a fun day of snorkeling. It was a hot, humid day in Key West, so it was actually refreshing to get into the water. But you know, we showed up out there at like 9. We stayed till like, I think it was 11:30 or 12. So we had like 3 hours on the island, which was plenty of time to snorkel, check out the beach, walk around the Fort Jefferson. And there was a lot of nice park rangers around that were happy to give you details and little bits of story. But, you know, if you're handicapped or have trouble getting around and you need a cane or a walker, this is not the place for you, man. It's hard to navigate. There's no handrails anywhere. There's no guardrails. When you're at this fort, I mean, you got to be extra careful because OSHA wasn't around back in 1846, to say the least. But fun day. Look at the little starfish that we found there when we were snorkeling. Of course, you don't want to touch anything. They're all about preservation. We don't leave any trash behind on the island. You don't pick up any seashells. You leave everything intact, just like you found it, so the next generation can come here and really enjoy this national park. I mean, just a beautiful day. And memories that, you know, I'll never forget in my life. So it's a fun day with my wife. And every once in a while, it's good to get away from the farm. As much as I like it at the farm and the challenges that are associated with it, just can't say enough for setting aside some quality time and doing stuff out of your box, you know. And I challenge everyone, man, make you a bucket list. Do some things you're not comfortable with, and you'll be rewarded. And that's the only way you're going to grow, is to challenge yourself. And love that. The past year, we went to Alaska, now down to the Florida Keys. And we're going to continue to do some bucket list stuff here, because I've come to the realization that, you know what, we don't have a lot of money, but you can't take it with you when you leave. You know what? We'll leave some for the kids, absolutely. That's the heritage and legacy aspect of things. But at the same time, have some fun, man. Life is short. Get out and party and put a smile on your face. And we'll post another video showing some of the stuff we did in Key West, because that was our first time down there. But man, look at, oh, there's the big fish, barracuda. Check him out, man. That fish was like 5 or 6 feet long. He was big enough that he got my attention for sure, but he wasn't interested in me. He was more interested in the bait fish, and he stayed on his spot, and I stayed in my spot, and we got along just fine. So I'll let you guys just enjoy some of the scenery for a second. So from there, you can see here comes the seaplanes coming back to pick us up. And that's always a good feeling, because you don't want to be deserted on this island. But check it out, man. It almost looks like he kills the engine. Well, heck, he did kill the engine. He's just gliding in. I didn't know he did that. But check it out. He comes right on in. Nice little smooth touchdown. Captain Brett, what a pro, man. I think he was ex-military. If you're ever down that way, man, tell him Heritage Farms gave him some raving recommendations. A little bit more snorkeling, because once the plane landed, I think we had like another 30 minutes or so to actually get ourselves over there. Definitely recommend wearing sunscreen, because you're out in the middle of an island in the middle of the ocean. Check him out. He's coming back. Oh, what a magnificent fish that is. Beautiful, beautiful creature. Fun to get out there and swim right next to him. I mean, we were literally like 3 or 4 feet away from him at one point. And he just didn't care about us. And I like it that way. So we tried to cherish every moment we could with the snorkeling because we knew the captain was over there getting the boat. You know, he was basically bringing round two. So we had another 10 people that he was flying in. So basically, you know, they bring 10 over, they go back to Key West, pick up 10 more, and they come back and they rotate throughout the day. So literally we had this place all to ourselves for the better part of 3 hours. And just what a fun adventure it was, and to be able to soak things up and take it all in. But you know the story, all good things must come to an end, right? So we had to get out of the water, dry ourselves off. But man, you could look at the birds on this place, which is amazing to be that far offshore. The number of birds, and I forgot what the number of species is, but it was amazing. I mean, it's like, I want to say it was something like 200 or 300 different varieties of birds on this island, which is just, where do they get the food? Where do they eat? I mean, that's what amazed me about this. Look how many there is on one end of the island. They have that end of the island closed because it's mating season. But just check this out. That water is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Pay no attention to me there in the gray shirt as I'm waddling out to the water and diving in. But man, we've been to a lot of places in Mexico and the Bahamas and everything, but this is a place I'll remember, and this is a place I will hold near to my heart for a long, long time. Just the workmanship and what went into building this place. That's American ingenuity at its finest. Even though the plan didn't work out, the fact that they were able to build this place, wow. My wife became friends with this pelican. That's why there's so many pictures of it that hangs around. But you can see there's various boats offshore a little bit. There's a little picture of me out snorkeling, and just had a blast that day. But and this was pretty much wrapping up our time over at Dry Tortugas. We're getting ready to hop back on the seaplane here in a minute. Fire that bad boy up. Captain Britt's going to take us back just in time. Here's the ferry that lands, and there's like 200 people on the ferry. So we're leaving the island just when the ferry's arriving. Perfect timing. Well, our little getaway is over at this point, and here we go, man. Captain Britt's firing up the seaplane. We're taking off. And it amazed me at how smooth it was, actually. I thought it would be bumpy and choppy and everything, but man, what a seasoned pro. Look at that. And man, he just skims the water here for a little while as we get a close-up personal view. And you can just see the difference in the depth. Look at that water, how blue it is, and just perfect. Look at some of these lucky souls who are out here on their yachts and everything, just soaking up this beautiful destination. Here we go. We start to climb out. We get a little altitude. Once again, just taking in some of the beautiful scenery. If you ever find the chance that you go to Key West, whether you go by boat or whether you go by seaplane, highly, highly, highly recommend that you go out to Dry Tortugas. Set aside a day. It takes the better part of a day. I think we left at, wheels up at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I think we got back at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Still had time to clean up, have a nice dinner. But man, it was just so beautiful, and just really enjoyed getting out there. You can see here's some divers out there at one of the shipwrecks. Actually getting ready to do a little scuba diving and checking it out. Divers paradise. I mean, the beaches in Key West weren't incredible compared to other spots, but it's not about the beaches, man. It's about the history. If you're into treasure hunting, go out and see the Mel Fisher Treasure Hunting Museum. There was a movie that was made with Matthew McConaughey, Fool's Gold, and it told the story about the Atocha, I think was the name of the ship, the Spanish ship that had all of the sunken treasure on it. And there is a museum on the island in Key West, the Mel Fisher treasure hunter museum. You've got to go see that. It's phenomenal learning about history and what was involved. Oh, this island right here, I mentioned this on the way out there. This island was actually featured in one of the James Bond movies. It's a private island, an individual owns it, but it's got like 3 private houses on it. What a great place to spend some time. A lot of celebrities use it. Here we are, we're coming back into Key West. Oh, there's the furthest point in America. The little beacon that everybody likes to have their picture taken with. Look at that. Anyway, that concludes our trip, guys. Tell us what you think. Go down to Key West. Have a blast. As always, glory be to God.